Rookie phenom Caitlin Clark, who made an explosive debut with the Indiana Fever, has reportedly received a Messi-like offer to join Unrivaled. Although initially planning for a restful off-season, Clark has hinted at a potential move, saying, "We'll see. I'm just taking it as it goes." Alex Bazel, Unrivaled's president, commented, "We're always going to have a roster spot for Caitlin. She knows there's a place for her here." New York Liberty star Sabrina Ionescu, fresh off a historic WNBA title win, is also expected to join Unrivaled. With one of the league's top-selling jerseys, her entry would draw immense fan attention. Though recovering from a recent injury, Ionescu's participation would boost Unrivaled's visibility, further solidifying it as an enticing option for WNBA athletes. Three-time MVP Aja Wilson has opted out of joining Unrivaled's debut season, though she praised the league's initiative. "I'm not going to cut it out completely, but this year I'll be chilling," Wilson shared. Wilson's support highlights Unrivaled's broader goal, providing WNBA players with more professional pathways within the United States. Unrivaled's unprecedented approach offers the highest average salary in American women's sports. Co-founder Collier emphasized, "We exceeded our financial projections, allowing us to expand sooner and offer more spots. Women's sports are reaching incredible heights, and we're proud to be a part of that." With players like Clark, Ionescu, and potentially more WNBA stars on board, the Unrivaled League stands poised to redefine women's basketball, reshaping the off-season landscape and capturing new audiences. Unrivaled president Alex Bazel has confirmed Caitlin Clark won't be signing for them. The Indiana Fever star, no 22, was naturally a top target for the new 3v3 division ahead of its launch in January. As WNBA Rookie of the Year, few names will bring more eyes to the startup than her. Clark hadn't signed by the time they filled their initial 30 spots, at which point they then expanded to 36 players. That naturally sparked speculation that they were still pursuing her signature and were extending their window of opportunity to do so. But Bazel, appearing on the Ringer WNBA show alongside his wife and Unrivaled co-founder Nafisa Collier, insisted that wasn't the case. He claimed it actually meant they could sign Connecticut's Sun veteran Alyssa Thomas, who had U-turned on her original decision. "Because of it, we were able to then get AT involved, because originally she was going to go play overseas and then changed her mind. And we're like, well, we gotta figure out a way for AT to play," Bazel explained. "So people think it was like, well, let's make extra roster spots so we can give ourselves more time to recruit Caitlin. That's not entirely true. It was more about we already have players ready to come in, and we want to make sure that they're a part of this." Clark is instead focusing on her golf game, appearing at several Pro-Am tournaments as she looks to embrace another of her sporting passions. She's foregoing a major payday, with all players guaranteed a $250,237K salary for the 8-week season, and her offer reportedly topping $1 million. The Unrivaled rosters have been announced, but there's still 2 spots remaining. For now, they're listed as wildcards and have each been assigned to one of the 6 teams. Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark has spent a lot of time watching the Butler men's basketball team play during the WNBA offseason. She became a Bulldogs fan after they hired her boyfriend Connor McCaffrey to be an assistant coach for their program. Since then, Clark has attended multiple of the team's games and was even seen wearing a Butler sweater at one of them. Of course, the 22-year-old's unprecedented star power makes it so she is often shown on camera when at these games. This has led to multiple viral moments, such as when she and Indiana Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton shared a laugh after Butler player Jack McCaffery, who is Connor's younger brother, flexed in celebration after making a tough shot. Butler played Northwestern on Thanksgiving Day and won the thrilling contest by a score of 71-69. And cameras caught Clark rejoicing after the win was secured. Big East Barroom posted a video of Clark's reaction to the win with the caption, "Caitlin Clark is all of us watching Butler hang on for that win. Butler has gotten off to an extremely solid 5-1 start to their 24-25 season." And Clark, plus the rest of Butler's fan base, are hoping they'll continue their winning ways during their game against the number 25-ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs on Friday. Caitlin Clark's decision to skip the inaugural season of the Unrivaled League has now been confirmed by its president. Clark, the reigning WNBA Rookie of the Year, was reportedly offered $1 million to participate in the Breakaway League, which recently expanded from 30 players to 36. But ESPN reported last week that she had rejected the chance to take part, and Unrivaled president Alex Bazell confirmed as such in a new episode of the Ringer's WNBA show. "We always want to be a home for the best of the best," said Bazell, who is married to WNBA star and Unrivaled co-founder Nafisa Collier. "We went through our negotiations. Inevitably, she needed time this off-season, which we respect, so we hope to see her next year. She won't be playing this year." Speculation arose that Clark could be joining Unrivaled after the league added 6 roster spots. And there were still 2 wildcard spots left when the ESPN report emerged on November 20th. However, Bazell explained that the expansion decision was more about accommodating Connecticut's son, forward Alyssa Thomas. "Because of adding 6 roster spots, we were able to then get AT involved. Because originally, she was going to go play overseas and then changed her mind. And we're like, well, we gotta figure out a way for AT to play. So people think it was like, well, let's make extra roster spots so we can give ourselves more time to recruit Caitlin." That's not entirely true. It was more about we already have players ready to come in, and we want to make sure that they're a part of this. At the same time, of course, I've been on record saying Caitlin will always have a spot in our league, and that is true, right? Clark has been enjoying some golf this off-season, but will otherwise use her time off to recharge from a hugely busy basketball schedule this year. She wrapped up her historic college career on April 7th with Iowa, and was drafted by the Indiana Fever just 8 days later. About 2 weeks after that, on May 3rd, she began her pro career and played non-stop until the league paused for the Olympics in late July. She is not the only WNBA star opting to rest this off-season, as Kelsey Plum announced this week that she was pulling out of Unrivaled. She announced the news on Instagram, saying, "I've decided to not take part in the inaugural season of Unrivaled in order to take some more time for myself this off-season. I appreciate the league understanding and being so accommodating. I wish the league and all of the players nothing but the best, and I'm excited to watch." The league begins in January 17th and runs through to March, with the next WNBA season expected to start in May. Caitlin Clark was the biggest name on the market ahead of the launch of the new 3v3 division, but she won't be signing up for the first season of Unrivaled. Unrivaled president Alex Bazell has put an end to speculation, by confirming that basketball prodigy Caitlin Clark will not be joining their ranks. But he insisted there's a contract waiting for her down the line with a guaranteed spot reserved. As the inaugural 3v3 league gears up to launch come January, eyes had been firmly on the WNBA Rookie of the Year, 22-year-old Clark. Despite being a hot contender for a place in the inaugural roster, her name was missing when the original list of 30 competitors was announced. Unrivaled then extended it to 36, fueling rumors they were leaving the door ajar for Clark. However, the actual narrative, as revealed by Basil during an appearance on the Ringer WNBA show, with wife and co-founder Nafisa Collier, is strikingly different. He explained that it wasn't Clark they were holding out for, but rather Connecticut's Sun's Alyssa Thomas, who had a change of heart about playing overseas. Because of it, we were able to then get AT involved, because originally she was going to go play overseas and then changed her mind. And we're like, well, we gotta figure out a way for AT to play, Basil said. So people think it was like, well, let's make extra roster spots so we can give ourselves more time to recruit Caitlin. That's not entirely true. It was more about we already have players ready to come in, and we want to make sure that they're a part of this. At the same time, of course, I've been on record saying Caitlin will always have a spot in our league. And that is true, right? We always want to be a home for the best of the best. She's also first-team All-W. We went through our negotiations. Inevitably, she needed time this off-season, which we respect. So we hope to see her next year. She won't be playing this year. Clark has shifted her focus from basketball to golf in the off-season, starring in various Pro-Am tournaments of late. She's passed up on the $250,000 salary each unrivaled player is guaranteed for the 8-week season, although her offer was believed to be up to $1 million WNBA rookie. Caitlin Clark said she has no disappointment over being omitted from the women's national team at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Team USA's roster has not been announced, but sources familiar with the decision have told a number of news outlets, including NBC News, that the team headed to the Olympics consists mostly of veterans, such as Phoenix Mercury players Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi. Clark said she had been informed of the decision ahead of the reports. "I'm excited for the girls that are on the team," Clark said, Sunday to a gaggle of reporters. "I know it's the most competitive team in the world, and I know it could have gone either way of me being on the team, me not being on the team." The Indiana Fever guard said she was excited for those who had been selected. "I'm going to be rooting them on to win gold," she said. "I was a kid that grew up watching the Olympics, so it'll be fun to watch them." When asked whether she was disappointed, Clark said, "Honestly, no disappointment. I think it just gives you something to work for," she said. "That's a dream. Hopefully one day I can be there. I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that. Hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, I can be there." The US women have won gold at every Olympics since 1996. A Team USA spokesperson said Saturday that it had not made any official announcement yet. The reports have sparked intense debate online, with some saying Clark had not yet earned the distinction of playing for the Olympic team. Others argue her omission was a missed opportunity to bring more attention to the sport. Clark has averaged more than 5 turnovers per game, for a total of 67 giveaways, the most in the league. Clark was the WNBA's overall #1 pick in April. Caitlin Clark might not be receiving fair treatment from the media, but FS1 analyst Rick Booker believes WNBA players are treating her just as they would any great player entering the league. Clark's rookie WNBA campaign has been marred by the media's desire to find a racial narrative for every headline featuring her name. The continuously contentious discourse prompted Clark to get asked 2 questions about seeing her name get weaponized by conversations of race and misogyny earlier this week. Those questions sparked discussions about whether it's fair to force a 22-year-old who just wants to play basketball into commenting on media-driven narratives and racial agendas. But while fans, non-fans, and the media might be unfairly weaponizing Clark's name, one area where she continues to be treated fairly is on the court. The only people that are treating her fairly are the WNBA players, Booker said Friday afternoon on The Herd. Because you're coming in and everybody said, you are all that. And if I'm a WNBA player and everybody is saying, you're gonna take over this league, I've already been here. I've already been playing. You're gonna have to show me how she's being treated by WNBA players is no different than any great player coming into the league. They all get tested, and particularly when they're a skilled player and they're not very strong. What are you going to do? You're going to be physical with them. That's just the nature of the game. It's not headhunting or any of that. While there certainly is a racial aspect to Clark's popularity, many people have attempted to push narratives claiming she is being resented on the court because she is a white superstar in a league that is predominantly black. As Booker notes, Clark is being tested. That doesn't mean she's being treated unfairly. Resentment is not new in sports. Hard fouls and cheap shots are not new in sports, particularly for a player who was dubbed great before earning it in that league. And for a lot of people who only consume the WNBA through Caitlin Clark highlights, they probably weren't aware women play such a physical brand of basketball. These are professional athletes and the best in the world at their sport. Pride and ego, driving WNBA players to prove Clark can't just step on a WNBA floor and dominate, is fair.